Heart of the Drift, a Skybound Odyssey. High above the world of forgotten Earth, where whispers of long-lost technologies and ruins weave tales into the clouds, the floating city of Elara shimmered against the backdrop of a dawning sun. The city, a marvel of aerial engineering and ancient magic, defied gravity with the indomitable power of dragons. Its towering structures and sprawling plazas suspended in the sky throbbed with life and the constant hum of mechanical innovation. Yet, beneath this facade of grandeur and stability, a silent crisis brewed, threatening the very essence of this skyborn civilization. Elara Mavros, with her cascade of black hair tied neatly back and eyes sharp as the edge of a falcon's wing, moved swiftly through the bustling markets. The air around her buzzed with the din of commerce and the occasional thunderous roar of dragons overhead. As a leading figure in the city's maintenance crew, she possessed an innate connection to both the mechanical and the mystical components that kept Elara aloft. But recent, unexplained malfunctions in the city's levitation systems had cast a shadow of worry across her determined features. Her investigation had led her to a chilling discovery. The dragons, those magnificent creatures whose power coursed through the veins of the city, were weakening. Each test, each analysis screamed the same dire warning. Without the dragons, Elara would plummet into the abyss below. Driven by a blend of fear and resolve, Elara knew what she had to find: the mythical dragon's heart, an artifact of immense power believed to rejuvenate the ancient creatures sustaining her home. As the city awakened to another day high above the clouds, few understood the precarious thread by which their world hung. Yet, Elara, standing on the brink of an odyssey that would weave through the very heart of mystic and machination, was ready to challenge the skies. What secrets would the quest reveal about the dragons and the ancient magic that bonded them to mankind? The answer lay hidden, wrapped in the enigma of legends and waiting for Elara to uncover. Elara Mavros stood at the edge of Erala's highest platform, her gaze piercing through the mist that curled around the floating city's underbelly. The sun dipped low, casting elongated shadows and bathing the city in a golden hue that made the intricate carvings on the bridges glow. Theron Voss approached her, his pilot's coat flapping in the brisk wind that always accompanied sunset. "I've secured the airship," Theron announced, his voice a mix of excitement and underlying anxiety. "We leave at dawn." Elara nodded, her mind racing with the magnitude of their undertaking. The city's systems had faltered again that morning, a reminder of the urgency of their mission. As night approached, they ventured into the less traveled parts of the city, navigating through narrow, cobbled streets that spiraled down to the forgotten districts. It was here, concealed within an abandoned maintenance shed, that they heard the soft rustling and low whimpers of a creature in distress. With a careful approach, Elara found Sira, the young dragon whelp, her azure scales dim under the flickering light of a single hanging bulb. Sira's silver eyes reflected a mix of fear and intelligence, a silent communication that bridged the gap between human and dragon. The elders, they weaken. Sira's voice was a melodic whisper, barely audible over the thrum of distant machines. "I will show you to the heart." Their alliance formed under the cloak of night. They planned their departure, unaware of the watchful eyes that monitored their movements. Dax Castellan, his features hardening with each report of Elara's insubordination, pondered the consequences of her actions. His office, cluttered with ancient manuscripts and mechanical blueprints, bore witness to his internal struggle. The risk was great, not just to Elara and her team, but to the fragile balance that sustained Aerolith. The journey ahead was fraught with danger. As they ascended above the cloud line the next morning, their airship rocked by gusts that seemed to push them back towards the city. Mysterious creatures, forms blurred and shifting, assaulted them from the cloud banks, drawn by the energy of the ship and perhaps by Sira's presence. Theron's steady hand at the helm and Elara's quick thinking kept them afloat, but each encounter left them more drained than the last. Their travels took them to the far edges of the known skies, where the blue turned to a deep indigo and the stars seemed close enough to touch. Here, the protective barriers around the dragon's heart manifested as shimmering veils of light, pulsing in rhythm to some unseen heartbeat. Zephyra, the mystic, had warned them of these barriers, layers of ancient magic that could either protect or obliterate. Theron and Elara, with Sira as their guide, faced each challenge with a blend of dread and determination, knowing that the survival of their city, of all the floating cities, depended on the success of their quest. Yet, back in Aerolith, Dax's fears brewed into a storm of his own making, a political whirlwind that might yet pull them all under. As the light from the dragon's heart enveloped Elara, the air around the lost spire shimmered with a newfound vibrancy. The heart, glowing with a radiant energy, seemed to pulsate in tune with Elara's own heartbeat. Sira, her silver eyes wide with a mix of fear and admiration, nestled close to Elara, her small body trembling with the energy in the air. Theron, his face taut with concern, stepped forward, but Zephyra held him back with a gentle touch, her eyes fixed on Elara with a solemn understanding. The Guardian, now a mere shell of obsidian, crumbled to dust, a silent testament to the monumental moment unfolding. As the dust settled, the sky above them seemed to open, a cascade of light showering down. It was as if the dragons of old were watching, their presence felt in every gentle wisp of wind, in every soft echo that resonated through the spire. With the heart in her hands, Elara felt a surge of power, a connection to something much greater than herself. It was a bittersweet symphony of magic and emotion coursing through her veins, asking for her essence, her life force. She understood the gravity of her decision. This wasn't just about fixing a mechanical issue or restoring a fading power source. This was about life itself, about the symbiotic relationship between her people and the dragons, about the very essence of existence in her floating world. She stepped toward the center of the spire, the dragon's heart before her. With a determined breath, she whispered the ancient incantations Zephyra had taught her, her voice steady but soft. The heart responded, its light intensifying, reaching out, intertwining with her soul. She felt a part of her slipping away, a sacrifice to the magic, to the dragons, to her city. Tears streamed down her face, not of pain but of resolution, for she knew this was her destiny. Theron, unable to contain his apprehension any longer, rushed to her side, his hands reaching out as if to pull her back. But it was too late. The transfer was complete. Elara turned to him, her smile weary but full of peace. "It's done," she said, her voice a mere whisper, yet heavy with the weight of her sacrifice. Zephyra stepped forward, her violet eyes reflecting the light of the heart. "The balance is restored," she announced, her voice echoing mysteriously around them. "But remember, the journey doesn't end here. Elara has given us a new beginning, but it is up to all of us to continue her legacy." As they returned to their airship, the skies clearer and the cities once again stable and secure, a new chapter began for the floating worlds. But for Elara, the world seemed different, colored by the part of her that now lived within the dragon's heart. She felt less of herself, and yet more connected to the world around her than ever before. Her sacrifice, a testament to her courage and dedication, would be remembered in the annals of her city, whispered on the winds that sailed between the floating islands, forever a part of the legend of the Heart of the Drift. Elara Mavros, hands gritty with the dust of urgency, shuffled through the tangled innards beneath Erelith. Beside her, Theron Voss, eyes focused and unblinking, relayed readings from the aged instruments. Above them, the city groaned ominously, its vibrant hums of life now drowned out by the eerie sounds of creaking metal and the anxious voices of its inhabitants. They had secured the dragon's heart, a luminous orb pulsating with potent energy, nestled in a makeshift cradle fashioned from Theron's leather belt and assorted mechanical parts scavenged by Elara. "Pressure's dropping quicker than expected," Theron announced, wiping his brow with a grimy sleeve. Elara nodded, her attention razor-focused as she connected the wires that would link the dragon's heart to the city's levitation grid. Sira, her azure scales stark against the grim backdrop, nudged a critical spanner toward her with a gentle nudge of her snout. Outside the restricted zone, Dax Castellan paced, his expression etched with the weight of impending decisions. Council members, faces marred by fear and doubt, approached him periodically, questioning the wisdom of integrating such untested magic into the heart of their city. Dax found himself defending a plan he had initially resisted, driven by the grim reality of their situation. The integration became a race against time. Elara secured the final connections, and Theron began the delicate process of system initiation. The core chamber filled with a resonant hum, followed by a series of sharp cracks as the city jolted. Heart skipped beats. Failure would mean a catastrophic descent from the skies. With a resonant thud, the dragon's heart assumed its role. Light surged through the circuits, and the city's tremors subsided. The familiar hum of stability began to overtake the frantic cries of despair. Elara, Theron, and Sira shared weary smiles, relieved. Together they had fused ancient magic with modern technology against the most harrowing odds, guided by the legacies of their forebears and the spirited innovation of their era. Erelith, stabilized for now, continued its defiance of gravity, its core pulsating vigorously with the dragon's might. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the floating city of Erelith, Elara Mavros stood at the edge of the highest plaza, gazing into the vast skies. Beside her, Theron, his eyes reflecting the hues of the sunset, and Sira, her azure scales glimmering with renewed vigor, shared a silent moment of triumph. The dragon's heart, pulsing deep within the city's core, had not only saved their civilization, but had breathed new life into the majestic dragons that soared above them. The city buzzed with celebration, the air filled with the sounds of rejoicing citizens and the harmonious roars of the dragons. Elara, once a quiet engineer lost in the background of mechanical gears and dragon runes, now stood as a beacon of hope and ingenuity. However, the path to this moment had unraveled many secrets and left behind questions that whispered through the winds. What were the true origins of the dragon's heart? Were there other ancient artifacts lost to time, waiting to be discovered? And most importantly, what new challenges would emerge now that the balance of power had shifted? As the stars began to pepper the twilight sky, Zephyra approached, her violet eyes twinkling with wisdom. "Remember, Elara," she said, her voice mingling with the evening breeze. "Every solution we find leads us to new mysteries. Our quest may end today, but our journey through the vast unknown continues." Elara nodded, understanding that their achievements, monumental as they were merely passages to new adventures and discoveries. As the trio looked out over their transformed city, a shared understanding passed between them. They had not only fixed a fading magic, but had also woven stronger ties with the creatures that shared their world. So as the city of Erilith settled into its newfound stability, the heroes of this tale understood that their true journey was just beginning. For in a world as vast and as mysterious as theirs, the horizon always held a new challenge, and the sky, no matter how explored, always hid new stories waiting to be told. To those who find themselves standing at the brink of discovery, the lesson is clear. Cherish the victories, ponder the mysteries that remain, and know that the journey is never truly over. Sometimes, saving the world is just the first step in understanding it.